Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Pick up a free hat and or shirt. Shop the number 18 collection. I, of course, am Johnny Venerable, joined as always, co-host from Studio K, Mr. Brack, Damon, Dawg. Behind the mic today, gentlemen, how we living?
Living well. Thanks for holding down ship on Friday, my man. And the chat out there, I missed every single one of you. But I'm excited to return as we are just blindsided by another lazy Kyler Murray take that from a source that I kind of grown to trust when it comes to Kyler Murray, somebody who's been a proponent of K1. But, excited to be here. The brand new Studio K here at the PHNX studios. Of course, you can roll into any Arizona location of Circle K and get yourself a Froster Polar Pop for as low as 69 cents. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. The support in the chat already. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. And as my co-host mentioned, an all-time bad take took place over the weekend. Bo, you had sent it to me, and we've kind of been texting back and forth about it. So I want to set the stage for everybody here. And not to get too nerdy as it relates to this show, I'm a big Star Wars guy, as my co-host knows. And there's a show right now on TV called The Acolyte. I'm just going to tell everybody, it's not very good, right? But there's hot takes coming left and right. So I'm going to try to contextualize it for everybody. Like, you can have an opinion on something. Like, I have an opinion that the Acolyte is not very good, or people have an opinion that Kyler Murray isn't a franchise quarterback. But then you have to come and support it with facts, with analysis, with statistics, with something hopefully that's current, that can be measured, right? There's a lot I don't like about the Acolyte, the story, the narrative, the episode length, the production value. I could go on and on. But as it relates to Kyler Murray, right, and stay with me here.
Trying.
You're trying. Yeah, absolutely. You leave for a day. This is what happens. As it relates to Kyler Murray, okay, what's your narrative you want to drive? You want to drive that, he didn't play 17 games, right? Or he turned the ball over too much at times last year, too many pick sixes, right? I can go through that. We can have a conversation. When you're talking about in the year of our football Lord 2024, Kyler Murray in video games, you've lost me completely. You are not doing your homework, and you are let outdated narratives run rampant, and you lose football credibility in my mind, Bo Brack.
Absolutely. And as I said, Colin Cowherd, the source of this horrible take, I mean, he's been somebody that's firmly been kind of in Kyler's corner when the rest of the national media wanted to count him out, where he saw the skill set. And within this conversation, there are compliments to Kyler Murray, his skill set, his game, but it's all within the plot of a terrible movie. As you outlined, I think I tried to catch on there as you I can't even pronounce the name of the new Star Wars show. Yeah. But it was just awful. It was a movie with lead actors that you liked with a terrible plot, because it was John Middlecoff, I think a football opinion that most people respect.
Lives here in Arizona. He lives 20 minutes away.
On the Volume Sports Network, and to see this, and I was sent this late last week, and I gotta give credit to my guy Ken who sent it to me in my DMs, and then I forwarded it on to you, and then it's catching a little steam today, and it's a played out lazy narrative that is it's outdated. It's far outdated. And to look, Colin Cowherd starts the conversation mentioning his relationship with former Arizona Cardinals general manager Steve Keim, saying, he was in the organization for 25 years. And this is a quote from Colin saying he was working for Michael Bidwell for 25 years. And he doesn't want to do it again. He's burnt out. If people only knew the stories, fans have no idea in regard to Keim working under Bidwell, as if Bidwell was the issue in the Steve Keim, Michael Bidwell relationship, which is shocking to me to think that Bidwell in some way, released Steve Keim from his contract that he signed in the offseason of 2022. He unceremoniously resigns and it wasn't just a full-fledged firing of Steve Keim, who underperformed at his position, in the latter years of his deal with the Arizona Cardinals. So that's where it starts off rocky, and then Cowherd gets into this weird thing about how he talks to a therapist, and that the therapist says that most gamers, like men who are gamers, that's a huge detriment to them having successful marriages. And then he ties in Kyler Murray and this narrative that, came around like 2021, right? When Kyler joined FaZe Clan, and it become well known. He was a professional gamer. And then it was, down the road in 2022, when Kyler was working his way for an extension, him and his agent, Eric Burkhart, that the study clause came in. It doesn't mention gaming, but it mentions a clause to where Kyler needed to spend a certain amount of time in his playbook each and every week. And people just said, well, it's a video game clause, or it's a study clause. And that's completely false. So there's this narrative that the stigma, and they call it a stigma as well, that I think Kyler Murray has ended. Like, he's no longer a part of the FaZe Clan. It's a group that's cut its staff significantly over the last couple of years. And everything we've heard from Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon is, his teammates, he's focused on ball.
You couldn't follow the Star Wars part of the conversation. I couldn't follow anything you just said about FaZe Clan, and like, the thing about everything you just said has nothing to do with football. Can we contextualize it to start off by there? Like, you have not talked about anything football related as it relates to Colin Cowherd and his comments. That should show you how ridiculous his opinion is thus far. Nothing. And I agree with you. I listened to the interview, the conversation. Everything football related was super complimentary, right? But because he's not his kind of player off the field, which, by the way, can we just say for a second, there are quarterbacks historically in the NFL who have, if Kyler Murray has a gaming hobby, which I don't believe he does anymore, frankly, but if Kyler Murray did, there are hobbies that NFL quarterbacks have had. Like, go check what Joe Namath was doing in the 1950s. Like, their social life was out in the public, like living it up, clubbing, going out every night, talking about girlfriends. Like, Kyler Murray's a private person. I have no issue with that.
Right.
When he's not at the building, his life is not for you to decipher. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, he put in the conversation, like, Kyler Murray needs a girlfriend. Kyler Murray does have a girlfriend. We know, I think, pretty well. He's got a girlfriend, a longtime girlfriend that he has. And number two, it's like, I'm going to tell you right now, Colin Cowherd's opinion does not mean anything because of how that conversation started. Steve Keim got an extreme DUI and had to be jailed for overnight. And then that's the guy you're going to go to, and you're going to look at, Steve Keim, he knows what he's doing from the draft perspective. Cowherd loves to draft. His hit rate in the first round was like 100. How can you start that conversation? He's batting 100. How can you start that conversation with, I was talking to Steve, my buddy, who was once jailed as an executive for this team, who has one of the worst, if not the worst, draft records in the history of the NFL. And he tells me, you know what? I don't know about Kyler Murray. It's like, I would think, do the opposite of what Steve Keim has to say. Like, again, you can circle it back to Michael Bidwell, which I agree. And I think Michael Bidwell has things he needs to work on, but I'll give him credit. He's worked on them because the football people are running the football operations right now for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, nobody was telling Steve Keim, if you're Michael Bidwell, to draft Isaiah Simmons. He wasn't telling him to draft Andy Isabella. Steve Keim was enabled by Michael Bidwell to do his job. He just did a shitty job of it.
Horrible job.
Terrible. So, like, all this stuff about, I don't know, Michael Bidwell, you should hear the stories.
Yeah.
I knew a story, Steve. You put together the worst collection of talent in the NFL over the last half decade. When Bruce Arians left you, you became inept. That's the story I've heard.
There are some people in this world, and for whatever reason, they get a pass on all their bullshit. Do you agree with that? Like, there's just some people, and I think it's just kind of, hey, they don't want to have a tough conversation with somebody that they're probably acquaintance with, and they don't want to have to sit there and go through all the mud that is their life. Like, they like the allure of, hey, former general manager has some insight on it, but do they really want to talk about the real Steve Keim tenure? Probably not. They probably like the access that they get albeit old, worn out access that no longer relates to the actual state of the organization that he used to work for or the player that is the face of that franchise. But I think that there's Steve Keim's, to me, like, he seems like somebody that people, especially in the media, are afraid to really just call his bullshit out to his face.
Yeah. And like, I know it's been out there, like Steve went to therapy and he's helped himself. That's great. And like, I hope that Steve, the person, is getting help and can lead a good life as a husband and a father and whatever. I'm talking about Steve Keim shedding rumors on stuff that now he has no insight on.
Right.
So to me, it's just like, and this is something else that I think it's important for you and I to bring up to this audience of over 250 people. Drop a like, by the way. Just because you held a title and then you're made available, like Steve's on the media, he's on the radio business. We see it all the time. Damon's guy, Mike Tannenbaum, does not mean that your opinion is valid. Like, and I'm not flaunting with this take here, but like when Bo and I, when we go places, when we go to Super Bowl week or Radio Row or whatever, there are people who are made available to us that held prominent roles within the NFL landscape. That does not mean we want to have them on the show, because we have respect for our audience to say they don't care about their opinion. They did not do a good job. They're an ex-head coach that has a losing record and people kind of think they're a joke, or an executive that nobody values their opinion. Like, why would we bring them onto the show to lecture this audience of smart football people? Like, hey, this is what they need to do in the draft. I'm sorry, you took how many off-ball linebackers in a half decade plus and undersized receivers from Division AAA schools? Like, we don't care what your opinion is. So again, the entire argument to start off is basically built on no foundation at all.
Yeah. If you weren't enabled, you wouldn't have lasted as long as you did. Once people were able to determine that you were a product of Bruce Arians' success and not vice versa, that, and I see in the chat, 2018 should have been it, right? It should have been Steve Keim's last stand. He should have been out with Steve Wilkes. It should have been a double Steve firing that Black Monday in 2019. And, Kingsbury should have never been hired, and this organization would have been better for it. Now, it never probably would have gotten them into the position they are right now, where they hit the full reset button 4 years down the road and get rid of Cliff Kingsbury and get rid of Keim, and finally, surround Kyler Murray with the infrastructure that's necessary, I think, for somebody like him to succeed. So, yeah, it is. There are a lot of people that held the title and had a certain position of status, but at the same time, it does not make them, your go-to for the opinion on certain things, or become an expert on it. Because like you said, Tannenbaum, Keim, like the media is littered with failures that tried to work in the NFL and just couldn't hack it. And Keim is up there, probably in the top 5. Like, look, Carrot Top's an actor. He's in movies, but I'm not going to go.
A SAG card.
Yeah, I'm not going to go and say, hey, if I want to cut my teeth in film, he's going to be the first one I'm going to ask advice for.
Yeah, we are 29 days away from training camp, and Kyler Murray is roughly 75 days away from beginning to quiet all of this noise. We hope indefinitely. Real coaching staff, real group of people around them, smart people elevating each other. But this feels like the last gasp of get your shots in now on K1. Play excluded, first of all. Kyler Murray has a tough game. Let's say he throws 3 picks against, the LA Rams in week 2. We'll come on here and be critical, because that's football. That's football related. Kyler Murray holds himself to high standards, football related. The video game stuff, there's something that you probably can put on Michael Bidwell. He was insistent, from what we've heard, of putting that in the contract, right? And then they regretted it. They saw the blowback. And, for Kyler Murray and his agent leaking that out, you get leverage for that. Or whether or not they leaked it out or the Cardinals, I don't know. But it made everybody look, including Kyler Murray, not buttoned up. And if you're the Cardinals and you're trying to prop up your franchise quarterback, until Kyler Murray starts winning games again, you're responsible for this take. People are putting this on Kyler Murray. That's a Cardinal error. You're saddling yourself. What does it say about you as a franchise that you're going to pay somebody over $200 million, but then you're going to have to hedge them publicly with a clause like that? That doesn't. And he's the leader of your franchise. Well, then what are you doing? Why? It makes you look unprofessional. It's like when they took shots at that executive publicly that they had to walk back and they were fined for. The Cardinals are guilty of this as well. And first of all, I have never heard of
Cardinals.
What's that?
The
old
old
Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you're going to rip somebody for that, you got to rip how the Cardinals handled it. They didn't handle it well, but the problem is they are not paying the price for that now. Kyler Murray continues to have to pay for that. And thankfully, he's got people in his corner that know who he is, what he's about. And this is the new era. This is Cardinals Kyler Murray 2.0. But this stuff, it's dead of offseason. It's like, what can we drudge up for clicks? How can we force a narrative? And like, we kind of buried the lead on this, and I touched on it Friday. At the beginning of the conversation, Colin references Craig Morgan's article at GoPHNX.com and says, I was reading comments from Bruce Arians about the Cardinals, which came from Craig Morgan. Shameless plug. Go read the article. It's fantastic. But similar to Steve Keim, and I love Bruce Arians, Bruce Arians' opinion of Kyler Murray is likely built upon several years ago.
Yeah.
And maybe what he watches on NFL Sundays. Bruce Arians, it's important to get his take, but he is not an NFL coach anymore. And so now putting that out there, he took and they twisted Bruce Arians' words. It's not like Bruce was critical. He's just like, I'm anxious to see more from Kyler. It's got a lot to prove. And I think a lot of people in our chat would say that.
Yeah.
But Colin and John took that as, Kyler, you know what? Bruce Arians was basically like, I'm out on this guy. I don't even know.
Right. Well, yeah. If look, Bruce Arians has a type too, doesn't he?
Right. Absolutely. Right? And we talked about that with Craig.
Big-bodied, tall, strong arm wide receiver, quarterbacks to a fault. Right. It's like, hey, what's your type? I like tall brunettes. Hey, I've got a friend. It's a short blonde. Bruce Arians is probably out if his type is tall brunettes. Right.
Next.
Next. And like what he told Craig was he's still in the evaluation process as far as Kyler Murray. He's been in the evaluation process since he probably faced him in 2019 when he took, he was in the first year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and I'm sure he hasn't, since he retired, done any homework or really evaluated Kyler Murray outside of what he's seen. And I think it's important, like, and people will ask like, oh, you're going to answer, some more doubters. Why are you going to give this the time of day? Because I think it's unfair. It's unfair to talk from an uninformed stance to a national audience and have old lazy narratives as your way that you're talking about a player in today's game. And that's exactly what Colin Cowherd on his 700,000 subscribers YouTube channel did to Kyler Murray. He did him a complete disservice. He did his listeners and viewers a complete disservice to think that this narrative still surrounds Kyler Murray, because it doesn't. It's not anything that we've heard. And I've been in the locker room where players are talking about playing video games and stuff, and one of them's not Kyler Murray. Like, I haven't heard anything surrounding Kyler Murray as far as his will, his want to, any questions as far as, how much time he's putting in the complex, out of the complex. Hell, we heard from Michael Carter that he never leaves the facility. It's an absurd take. And within that, as I said, like, Middlecoff says, this is a guy that's got a top 10 skill set at the quarterback position in the NFL.
Is that what you want? I don't know if you want that.
Yeah. And then they proceed to just talk about this dumb video game thing. Do we have the thumbnail for that, Damon? Can we see that? It's
laughably bad.
It's the most absurd. Look at this. Stop gaming. And they've got two old guys looking alarmed, and then Kyler laughing like he's a villain in a Bond movie.
Listen, I like Middlecoff and Cowherd's takes historically. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say like I trash everything they do. I talked to John Middlecoff when we were at the Combine.
Yeah. And
he loves Arizona, and like, he's a Niner guy probably through and through, but he wants the Cardinals to be good. And I do think Cowherd through Keim steered this conversation, if you go and watch it. And I would encourage people, like, go and come up for yourself the opinion of it. I mean, I doubt they put this thumbnail together. That's laughably bad. I'm not going to say it's borderline disrespectful. It is disrespectful.
Yeah.
And then you go into it and they talk about, Colin says specifically, Kyler Murray is the most hated, talented quarterback in the history of the NFL. I'm like, by whom? And he lists like national media people, coaches, the fan base. I'm like, well, I think majority of the fans in Arizona like Kyler Murray a lot. Mm-hmm. And what they fail to point out, and I bring this up every time on this show, it's appropriate, and when we do national hits, other podcasts, The Cardinals had every opportunity to add Caleb Williams. It was there to be had, and they actively chose to win games and stick with Kyler Murray. Like, that takes their whole argument and becomes invalid and moot at that point. They had one win with Joshua Dobbs. They play Clayton too. They have a 1-16 year. They have a terrible year, and they can draft Caleb Williams. And then what? You trade Kyler Murray, you get a pick, and you move on. They had an out clause. They had multiple out clauses. They opted for the opposite. They said, you know what? The guy that you consider damaged goods, that's a video game addict, that's got a big contract, we're going to double down on him with a first-time head coach and a first-time general manager. That should tell you everything.
Right.
But they don't bring that up one time.
Right. Well, I mean, consider where this, like, the source of information, right? Is somebody who was mudslinging during the negotiations in Steve Keim. And like, once Steve Keim exited that building, the Kyler Murray slander ended, right? Because Steve Keim hitched his wagon to Kyler Murray, and he needed Kyler Murray on his own because he didn't provide any of the infrastructure that the new regime has for Kyler Murray to succeed and for the franchise to then succeed through Kyler Murray. He needed Kyler Murray to grow up on his own. It's like, hey, lead us to the promised land. We're not going to give you really anything outside of like, okay, we'll get you DeAndre Hopkins and we'll get you this, but you're going to play behind a crap offensive line. The scheme's going to suck. You're not going to get really any leadership from your head coach position. But we need you to do this, and you can't have any hobbies. And if you do, we're gonna make sure that you get crushed for that. And then, like, once Keim left the organization, like, the leak stopped, the slander stopped, the empowerment, the emboldening of Kyler Murray began, and the skill set was realized. The leadership qualities, the maturation, I think, continued. And now, like, as I see that, like, the headline is Kyler Murray needs to grow up. He's grown up. The gaming stopped gaming. The gaming has essentially stopped to the point where it should be an issue with anybody.
I also, like, again, this is stuff early in his career, right, that have been blown out of proportion. So let's take a Bruce Arians guy. Let's take a Bruce Arians quarterback. Go look up what Ben Roethlisberger was doing and maybe not doing during his first couple of years during his rookie contract in Pittsburgh. Go read those headlines off the field. And then, everybody's like, you know what, though?
A motorcycle accident?
And he...
I know the other stuff.
Other situations. Yeah. He was not responsible off the field. Right. Let's just call it that. But what did he have? The infrastructure of Bill Cowher and the Pittsburgh Steelers, the number one defense. Ben Roethlisberger didn't throw over 20 touchdowns until year 4 in the NFL. He'd already won a Super Bowl because of the infrastructure that Pittsburgh had. He was a top pick. He's a Bruce Arians guy. What about Carson Palmer with the Cincinnati Bengals? Hurt, couldn't win a playoff game in Cincinnati, forced his way out. Like, Kyler Murray is still with this franchise. Kyler Murray hasn't demanded a trade. Kyler Murray's not off making TMZ headlines in the offseason. Kyler Murray, unlike those two individuals, I guess maybe more so like Cincinnati because they were dysfunctional, he just wants high-level people to be around. Like in high school, like at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley, right? Match Kyler Murray's intensity and football acumen and IQ like Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenford had. We're going to be fine. Drew Petzing, we're going to be fine. But, I mean, we're talking about these other quarterbacks like they were perfect off the field. You want to sign up for those accolades or those antics off the field? I don't. I would much rather have whatever the hell it's called, FaZe Clan or whatever. But here's the problem. The Arizona Cardinals at the time did not know how to deal with it. They had never paid a quarterback of this magnitude. They wanted leverage. You either go all in with Kyler Murray or you don't. And that's what his agent has told us, Eric Burkhart, off the air. And the Cardinals wanted to have their cake and eat it too. And they made things exponentially worse in the meantime for their quarterback. And it's really unfortunate because it lingers to this day.
Well, don't you think it was Bidwell not necessarily seeing how Kyler Murray behaved on or off the field or where he felt like he could be better, that the homework clause was him trying to put his stamp on a pretty standard quarterback contract practice? Like we see it, like you get drafted in the first round, you play your first 3 seasons of your rookie contract. If you're good, if you're deemed a franchise guy, you negotiate an extension, and like the guaranteed money comes out, the total contract comes out. People go, oh, like $250 million for a contract and this much a year. Where I think like the arrogance of the Cardinals brass at the time said, well, watch this. I'm going to cover my ass more than anybody has as far as these deals. And I'm going to say, that's brilliant. But little did they know is the worst thing they could have done.
I think it's that. And I think it's the insecurity that they knew that their head coach could not say, I got him. I'm going to make him better.
Yeah.
I'm going to have him continue to improve. If his head coach is Bruce Arians or Jonathan Gannon, don't put that shit in there. We'll be fine. I'm going to continue to coach Kyler Murray hard. He's going to get better every year. But who did he have as his head coach? And they felt like Cliff Kingsbury couldn't hold him accountable. Whomever their offensive coordinator was, Vance Joseph, their defensive, nobody was holding anybody accountable. That's why they brought in J.J. Watt as a free agent. They thought that'd fix everything.
Right.
So I think it's what you said coupled with the lack of leadership. If you're putting that into the contract for a kid who's 23 years old, your infrastructure stinks. It's terrible. You don't have the head coach involved. You think Jonathan Gannon would okay anything like that? He would take it as a direct slight against him that he can't hold his players accountable to study, to read up, to be ready on game day. And it's ironic that ever since Jonathan Gannon got here, he has factually and organically said nobody studies harder. Jonathan Gannon doesn't have to do that, but he says it because it's true. But they had Cliff Kingsbury, and we know how that ended.
Yeah. Yeah, we do know how that ended. It's but for whatever reason, it continues to linger on.
Wild. I was still talking about this.
As late as last week, I couldn't believe it. Like, you hear the beginning, and sometimes anybody credits Steve Keim as like a knowledgeable football man.
What are you doing?
And I usually tune out, but then like, well, here's some compliment stuff about Kyler, and then they get into this full-fledged, he needs to stop gaming combo. You're just like, guys. And the middle talks, like, maybe it's time for him to get a girlfriend. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? It's time for him to get a girlfriend?
Josh Allen, I saw pictures this morning. He's hanging out with like Haley Steinfeld at like a pool party.
She keeping him from gaming?
Hey, gosh, go beat Patrick Mahomes. Stop hanging out with celebrities. Nobody's saying that.
Right.
Because he took over a playoff team. He's got a good head coach.
Right. Well, he's
go look at Josh Allen's
talking about McDermott.
Yeah, he's solid. I mean, he's fine. Solid.
Let's say things we don't.
He's better than Cliff Kingsbury.
Yes, true. Sorry.
Yeah, lot of. He got him to the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor. Yeah. So go and if you want, listen to that kind of garbage for 8 minutes. Because again, littered throughout the negative, inaccurate takes on off the field, all they do is Kyler Murray's more talented than Jalen Hurts, and he beat the Eagles on the road, and this, that, and the other, and like, yeah, that's why people
over against Philly. Yeah.
Dominant.
Top 10 skill set. It's like you see his frame, you see Bryce Young. Bryce Young can't do what Kyler Murray does. No. Kyler Murray's way more talented. I mean, that's what they're saying. It was all littered within this horrible, nearly 10 minutes take of Kyler Murray plays too many video games. It's insane.
It was, and it was tough to get through because of how inaccurate it is. And
yeah.
That's why shows like this exist. And we're fired up here on Football Monday. If you can't tell already, we got more battles to fight as it relates to the Cardinals being devalued. But before we get to that, I just want to say the new Circle K, Studio K, looks fantastic, Bo Brock.
It does. Doesn't it look great? I mean, we got our Studio K on-air sign here. We got our little mic flags here with PHNX, who is a bastard, by the way. PHNX is the horrible.
Comes after me on Twitter.
Whatever. Yeah. I hopefully think he got kicked off the Twitter streets, which is good for everybody. But we love our friends over at Circle K.
We absolutely do. It's America's thirst stop, and I'm thirsty right now because it's 110 plus degrees on average every single day here in the Valley. And we're going to hook you up right now. There's a new free membership program. You know it, Inner Circle. They're going to hook you up, get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd at any Arizona location. I think you just found your thirst stop for the course of the summer and beyond. Plus, you're going to save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents per gallon every single day. Again, find it in the app under Inner Circle's -offers. Right now, download the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com, Bo, for more details.
Johnny, I had you over for my kid's birthday party over the weekend. we had some beers as well. What beers did we have in our cooler? Some fantastic Four Peaks. You were drinking a Wow.
I was, yeah. It's my go-to.
Bad Birdie.
Yep.
If you aren't hanging out this summer with some Four Peaks brewed beer in your hand, you're doing it wrong. We love our friends over at Four Peaks. It's, of course, Arizona's #1 brewery. Started over 25 years ago. Still the OG location in Tempe remains. Check it out. Great food on the menu, from appetizers to entrees to desserts. You'll love everything that you find at our friends over at Four Peaks. There's the Redbird Lager. It's going to be back in the fall. You got the Wow, as Johnny loves, the flagship Kilt Lifter. You got the Bad Birdie, which is a juicy golden ale collab with Four Peaks and Bad Birdie, the golf apparel company. Check it out for yourself. Visit fourpeaks.com/locator. You can find all your favorite beers. You can, of course, find them at your favorite Circle K. Check out at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub on your socials as well. This is Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 years or older and drink Four Peaks. While you do it responsibly.
Jumping into these super chats here. Let's start with my guy. Oh, goodness. Big Red 6. Got to be careful how I read this. $5 super chat. Happy Mad Max Monday. Big Red Brothers. Melton for Defensive Rookie of the Year plus 7,500. DBs and Mad Max is set for big playing time. Thoughts? I love it.
I do too. I mean, as far as Max Melton, is he going to be, the 3-down cornerback, or is he going to be somebody that comes in nickel situations? Is he going to get the playing time necessary to rack up Defensive Rookie of the Year honors? I mean, 7,500, great value there. D-Rob probably going to be on the field. Darius Robinson more than Mad Max, or enough to get maybe in there as a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. I think Robinson, I give him the edge, but I don't know if it's as much value of plus 7,500. Holy crap.
It is high. We talked a lot about MHJ's odds for Offensive Rookie of the Year on Friday, and it's
like plus 700.
Yeah, and it's predicated. It's plus 700 on Caleb Williams. Like Damon and I firmly in that camp. I unfortunately think the Cardinals' odds for a Defensive Rookie of the Year, because I think between he and Darius Robinson, that being Melton, should be in consideration based on where they're drafted. I'm concerned, though, if the Cardinals' defense as a whole is not top half of the NFL, like would they warrant that consideration? I think Will Anderson Jr. rode the renaissance of Houston, playoff team, bouncing back. His stats were pretty, I wouldn't say average, but they weren't all worldly. I think the Cardinals could be hampered if their defense as a whole isn't great. So, I mean, definitely take care of a couple different problems, though, if Melton has a big year. I am McLovin back-to-back, $4.99 super sticker, and then we got a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, McLovin. If Johnny finishes the $9.99 challenge, Damon Dawg has to meow Damon Cat next super chat. I agree with that. And Bo has to admit there's a stake out there that he didn't finish.
If Johnny finishes the 999 challenge, I don't even know. I'll do anything. Like, there's just zero chance that that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's if somehow Johnny were to finish ahead of one of us, like, I think one of these options would be fine.
I'm coming for Damon. Damon knows
Johnny finishing the 999 is just, it's not happening.
So Bo announced today in a text thread with the three of us that the tickets have been purchased for this Saturday's matchup. The A's at the Diamondbacks, 1 p.m. on Saturday. Bo, Brock, we have tickets. They are secure. The $9.99 is happening now. If you weren't on Friday's show, we were informed at trivia last week at Chicken and Pickle that Shane Diefenbach, although we promoted him as part of this event, will in fact not be attending. And he was very confused as to why he thought he was included. He will be at, for work purposes, the NHL draft. So it will be your fearsome threesome here on PHNX Cardinals, myself, Bo, and Damon competing this Saturday at Chase Field.
It's a shame. It was kind of
damn shame.
Couldn't believe it. Shane, he didn't understand that we are his friend and we want him to come hang with us. He was shocked by that. But he's going to be hanging out.
Promoting me on that show.
Is he going to be doing the 30 for 30 challenge? Is he going to be putting back 30 glizzies for 30 draft picks?
Is that a thing?
No, I just made it up.
The hospital.
Look, for the NHL draft, have fun at that. Let's look. It is going down. It's official. You got their tickets. It's feeling more real.
Not hard exclusive. We'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah. Illadre 499 super chat. These are the same people who steal material from Johnny V and Bo. That's why you're all number one when it comes to cards. Y'all speak facts. Thank you, Illadre.
Thank you, Illadre. Friend of the program. And listen, again, like I would love to get Colin Cowherd or John Middlecoff on this show. I think to sway anybody's opinion right now on this team, just got to win games, man. It's just the elixir for everything. Tom 499. It's been a while. Missed you guys. Missed you, Tom. Thank you for putting in the good work. Hot take: if K1 plays every game, MVP lock. I had somebody tell me, Tom, that Kyler Murray, you're better off betting on him to win MVP over comeback player of the year. I don't hate that. I think the odds are pretty big in both instances, but I think Kyler Murray's behind Daniel Jones for comeback player of the year odds. So yeah, you might as well dabble on the MVP. We'll see. Can the rest of the team, can the offense carry the defense early on to get enough wins? Because typically the MVP, you got to be a top seed. Like Lamar last year, top of the AFC, number 1 seed. Like Cardinals, I think would have to be top 1 to 3 seed, which would mean winning the NFC West. But yeah, again, like I think people are just sleeping on Kyler Murray and his ability to do that. Like this team started 7-0 one year when, I think the talent was pretty comparable. So we'll see.
Yeah. Like you said, the biggest stat for MVP is wins. And in order to get there, I crunched the numbers a couple of years ago, and it was like 13 wins from your team for MVPs over the last 10 years. So yeah, and that's before you added another game. So it's just going to be your team has to be up to snuff too. So they have enough defensively to get it done. Like if the Cardinals are winning 13 games with this defense on paper, like Kyler Murray is your MVP most likely.
There's Baharo 3 $2 super chat. Dead last in motion doesn't help K1 prep narrative. So Baharo is referring. Thank you so much for the super chat. Referring to, I think, a tweet from our friend of the program, Mina Kimes, or maybe it was Brett, a guy named Brett on Twitter who put together.
Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman had put together some numbers. Cardinals were close to last anyway in pre-snap, and then when Kyler Murray came back, they were last in pre-snap motion, which, according to Baharo, suggests that Kyler Murray doesn't do pre-snap work. I would take that as Kyler Murray is coming off an ACL and had never ran that offense before. But maybe I'm wrong, Bo. Maybe there's more to that.
I mean, if you look at, wasn't it Philly was dead last? Philly was dead last for a while last year. And some of the offensive concepts that the Cardinals had that they adopted from Philadelphia. And it's just probably not something they do very often anyway.
I just feel like Kyler Murray, the time for him to master this offense this offseason. Like he wasn't taking snaps. He wasn't on the field practicing this time last year. So I'm gonna reserve judgment. I'm just gonna look at the statistics and how many games they can win, and then however they need to manufacture that, I'm all for it. I'm also high and all for the Cardinals receiving core because I feel like it's trending upward. Like if you had asked me right now, like how many young wide receiving cores in the NFL I would take over the Arizona Cardinals, tight ends included, I mean, I could name 12 to 14 that I would take. Unfortunately, our friends at Pro Football Focus have a difference of opinion, Bo, because they've got the Cardinals, I believe, according to this graphic, 21st in the NFL. Again, this is from PFF. The Cardinals drafted MHJ as wide receiver 1, filling out a major need and elevating the outlook of the rest of the group. Tight end Trey McBride led the team in 2023 with an 80.5 receiving grade, and any uptick in production from Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, James Conner would make this a fairly strong group. But again, they had this listed at 21. Just don't know how you can do that when PFF themselves listed Michael Wilson as a breakout candidate. Yeah. Most people have MHJ as a top 12 receiver in the NFL, and most people have Trey McBride as a top 5 tight end in the NFL. Like, the math's not math in there for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, I think it is based on data, right? And really not having much foresight as far as what it could project to become. And, some of the PFF nerds, and if you look at Cardinals from previous season, like they aren't PFF darlings. They're not. No. Like you'd be hard pressed to find anybody with a decent grade outside of like Mac Wilson and Trey McBride. So, they're going to go with the teams that graded high in 2023 and just say this is where they rank now. But at the end of 2024, the list is going to look completely different. And the Arizona Cardinals have the playmakers that can emerge to get them way up those rankings. And one thing, I was looking at those preset rankings where you've got the Bills 27th. So like Josh Allen can't read a defense. Is that a fatal flaw for Josh Allen? And then you've got Cleveland 31 and Philly, as I mentioned, some concepts they take from them. Petzing came from Cleveland. Like, that's probably just the offense. It's probably just the offense they're running. It's not an indictment on Kyler Murray and his inability to read a defense pre-snap.
Okay, so I'm not loving PFF's rankings. Bo, you pointed this out. How about ESPN's fantasy rankings, average draft position and ranking for a lot of the Cardinal skilled players? Walk our audience through the cockamamie narratives that continue to come out from the worldwide leader.
Well, it's not very flattering. If we bring these up, we'll find that the Marvin Harrison Jr. is the highest ranked on the ESPN's. This is non-PPR fantasy football ranking. So, some people did ask me, like our guy Donnie Donuts, Donnie Druin asked who even plays non-PPR fantasy football, which is a valid question. But if you're just trying to dabble and not to get too in depth, but like Marvin Harrison Jr. still he's 39th, I believe, overall.
Okay.
And he's wide receiver 16. So that's not great. And then you've got James Conner, who was probably their best fantasy player last year. He's RB 23. And then you got Kyler, who's QB 10. He's down in the 70s. Like Trey McBride was 69th overall. So there's just not a whole lot of love for the Cardinals. I would say that you're going to be able to find, you're going to be able to land some Cardinals and get some sleepers from this roster that, fantasy football wise, people won't be high on, but that's not the case. Like usually in the area of the team that you're drafting. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to wait on MHJ or Trey McBride or James Conner or Kyler Murray. I think that those guys are going to go early. So will Michael Wilson. Like,
who are the tight ends? The 6 tight ends drafted ahead of Trey McBride. Like,
I wanted to go after that. And then, you look up Evan Ingram and he had 114 receptions last year.
This is non-PPR though.
Right. I mean, you're right. He had more yards than McBride. And I think
Evan Ingram did?
Yeah. He had over 900 yards receiving.
He had a great season last year, but Trey also didn't start for half the year. So that's, got to factor that in as well.
Tight end 6 was like, who the heck was tight end 6?
Kittle.
I mean, like Mark Andrews, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce
was 2. Kelce was 1.
You know how I feel about Kittle.
Mark Andrews was ahead of him. I think it was 5. The other one was questionable. The tight end ahead of
Njoku, maybe?
Yes, Njoku was, but he scored a bunch of touchdowns last year, I think.
I mean, Trey McBride played 12 games, most of them without Kyler Murray. Can we just... That's pretty bad. The K1, if Brock Purdy's ahead of Kyler Murray from a fantasy perspective, like I saw that recently, I made me want to throw up. Maybe want to throw up in my hat.
Well, it's Brock like we Purdy talked about with those props, Johnny. I think it's just like a games played thing.
Yeah.
They think Brock Purdy will sustain the season, and they think there's a chance Kyler doesn't.
The Brock Purdys of the world are always available in the waiver wire pickup. Like, you can always go get a Brock Purdy. Like, Jared Goff was always available in our league. Saved my ass from going to Waffle House last year. But Kyler Murray, like, there were people drafting him and stashing him all year. For what reason? Because he's an electric playmaker. The James Conner thing, everybody's ready to anoint Trey Benson. Like, again, when I do hits, it's like, how soon can Trey Benson become RB1? I'm like, well, James Conner's pretty good. He had a career last year. No, we'll see about Trey Benson, though, right? By Halloween, he's going to take over. I'm like, probably not. Like, I could envision a scenario in which James Conner builds off of the year he had last year, has another really good season. So you should probably draft him. The Michael Wilson one, let's see that one more time, though, Damon. The Michael Wilson one is probably outside of Trey McBride the most egregious. Wide receiver 82.
He's like 224th overall. Wide receiver 82. They've got Zay Jones ahead of him.
Guys, I think what you're not realizing about this is don't tell anybody. We're taking Michael Wilson in the 14th round.
Listen, I'm a homer. I'm a fanboy. I love this team. We were not doing this last year with the Cardinals as it relates to the rankings. We were sitting there and taking our medicine saying, yeah, it's probably about right. They got Colt McCoy throwing them the ball, and this is an offense in transition. Zach Ertz, pray for your life if you're drafting him. Like that's the kind of things we were saying. And check the tape. I'm telling you right now, I think you're going to get a good litmus test within this first month. Some of the defenses they face, the expectation is they're going to score a bunch of points and have a bunch of yards. Like when are the Cardinals going to sit back and score under 20 points again? It's not happening. You cannot take what they did last year outside of maybe at the end with Kyler Murray when they're cooking with gas in Philadelphia and they're putting up nice numbers against the Seahawks. Like outside of those instances, you just take last year and you throw it away from a total team offensive production standpoint. Because when you don't play the large majority of your season without your franchise quarterback, he then comes back, did not have an offseason, and needs like 4 to 6 weeks to get cooking. And then that's what people are basing it on. It's like, right. I'm sorry, you're paid to be smarter than this, ESPN. That's really bad.
It's like you're looking at the receiving stat, you're looking at the yards and the touchdowns, but you're just like, you didn't even look at the games played. You didn't look at the games started. You didn't look at the snap counts. It's just like you're supposed to be the next level. You got to help out, the person that's not paying as close enough attention so they can have a good fantasy team. Yeah, I mean, but when I look at this and I see Marvin Harrison Jr., I see Trey McBride. So you got MHJ going in his rookie year. You got Trey McBride going into year 3. You got Kyler Murray poised to have, enter his prime. And then you got like Trey Benson. It's like, where do you think these guys can rank next year at this time?
Oh, man. I mean, like it would be a colossal, letdown if Marvin's not a top 10 receiver, which again, like I looked over the weekend, he's top 10 right now in certain instances.
So has him as a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy. Yeah. I think if he can be anywhere from 12 to 10
next year.
Yeah. I
think it would be a mistake. I think it'd be, if we're not sitting here 7, 8 or 9 projecting, then that's disappointing. Kyler Murray, with firmly within the top 10 would be good. But how do you feel like the trajectory of Trey Benson is? Do you think James Conner has a future here? That's my question for you.
Well, it's just seeing the writing on the wall, taking Trey Benson 66th overall. He's, fresh legs coming out of Florida State, should, get some opportunities this year. But like year 2, I think Trey Benson could be in a position to be immediately anywhere from like 20 to top 15 running back with as much as they run the football. And then Trey McBride is going to be top 5.
Like who are some of these other teams? This is not good podcasting. That is ranked higher than Arizona with PFF. Like you sent that
Philly, San Francisco. Are you talking about like
the usual suspects? Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now. All right, so this is not good. Niners, Dolphins, Eagles, Bears, Texans, Vikings, Lions. I don't have an issue with any of those.
Mm-hmm.
Rams. Puka and Cooper Kupp. What else do they have? Cincinnati's fine. They have quorum. Seattle's fine. Tampa Bay. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd rather have Arizona's receiving core than Tampa
Bay. Like in
a
year, the Cardinals are going to be ahead of them
easily. Tennessee.
Yeah, it makes me sick. I want to flip this table right now. I love the new Studio K. I'm about to flip the table that Tennessee. They're nearly 10 spots ahead of the Cardinals.
Who did Don Carthon pay off this offseason to be elevated where he's not taking shots left and right in the media? Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, Tajay Spears was unwatchable last year. Unwatchable. Calvin Ridley.
The other, like the alternative is Tony Pollard, who is terrible.
Falcons is fine. I have no issue with that.
What you got, Damon? You want to add something?
I don't think Tajay Spears was unwatchable. I thought he was pretty good.
All right, hang on.
He was just behind Henry.
Yes, Tajay Spears. Okay. Maybe I was a little bit critical.
He was a rookie.
I thought
he paid Tony Pollard all this money for some reason.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Tajay Spears has better numbers than I thought. Yeah, he averaged over 4 yards per carry. For whatever reason, I had it in my mind that Tajay Spears had like 2.5 yards per carry last year. Maybe I drafted him as a handcuff to Derrick Henry, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. He was not unwatchable. Thank you, Damon, for correcting me. I apologize. If Tajay Spears family members are watching, I apologize to you.
I don't understand why no one crushes the Calvin Ridley deal as much as
It is insane.
like it was a nasty deal. I
They
want
have
nothing to do
Vegas.
with that.
They have the Las Vegas Raiders ahead of the Arizona Cardinals as a receiving core.
To Damon's point, like Calvin Ridley had the quietest 1,000-yard receiving season. Like if you had him on your fantasy team, like you look at the cumulative stats, you're like, oh, he had 1,000 yards. But I didn't win anything in fantasy because he didn't have like big weeks. He was not an impact receiver last year for Jacksonville. And he got $90 million.
He's just like, I'm just here to get my 60 yards and maybe a touchdown.
I just need that money to use on BetMGM.
The Vegas I'd rather have the Cardinals than the Vegas Raiders. I'd rather have the Cardinals than the Kansas. I mean, would you rather have the Chiefs receiving core or the Cardinals?
Patrick Mahomes would rather have the Cardinals.
No doubt. No doubt.
Your only case against the Cards is like you got Kelsey and Pacheco.
But come on. Pacheco's fine. He's fine. No, I would James Conner, they're listing Hollywood Brown as the #1 receiver for Kansas City.
It's crazy.
Cardinals belong in the top half of the NFL. Yeah, Treylon Burks was my guy. He's there. He could be cut this preseason, Merv. They signed Tyler Boyd. They have the all Steve Keim receiving core. They have Tyler Boyd. They have Calvin Ridley, and they have DeAndre Hopkins for Will Levis.
Kicking the tires on all those guys.
Like on paper, it's not bad as a 3, but like talk about old receivers
in
like,
2019.
Yeah, there's
legit.
Legit. No youth on that at all. No projectability. Like just old guys.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley has played in the league for 5 years. He's 30.
Yeah, Jack Smith says it. Hollywood Brown can't get open. I don't remember any time outside of maybe the Dallas game last year that he was open. I mean,
you had Trey McBride going off and taking, he was the vocal point of the Cardinals offense, and like you just couldn't find space for your ex.
Hollywood Brown wanted to stay here. His best friend's the quarterback, and the Cardinals were literally like, we cannot pay him bare minimum money because he legitimately is. I don't even know if they view him as a starting caliber receiver in the NFL.
Right.
He was a hamper to what they wanted to do.
He's a losing football player. Like, I'm sorry, but he is. I watched him all year last year. He didn't make one winning play.
That's how I feel about Rondale Moore.
I saw him hanging out with Mahomes and I think it was Mahomes and maybe Kelsey at a finals game.
It's
already infiltrated like the crew.
The Baltimore Ravens could not, after a career year, trade him fast enough. What does that tell you? They're like, get out, get what we can. We'll take advantage of Steve Keim, Cowherd's buddy. The Cardinals receiving core may not be the most established, but you got to love that it's young. It's got a ton of promise. It's cheap. It's inexpensive. And it's only going like this. Like Marvin Harrison Jr., top 10 receiver. Michael Wilson, you know how we feel. He's our breakout player of the year for this podcast. Greg Dortch slept on. Trey McBride, a freight train from hell. Like this is if you're a Cardinal fan, this is the most exciting receiving core since Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald were here. Maybe Larry and Michael Floyd when Floyd had 1,000 yards.
Like I see Green Bay, and like I know Green Bay emerged last year, youngest roster to make a divisional round playoff game. They had the Niners on the ropes, but like Wicks, and I know they added Josh. Who's the kid? Was it Josh Jones?
Well, they have Jaden Reed, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm talking in the run game.
Oh, Josh Jacobs.
Sorry, apologies. And he got a big deal, but I think the Cardinals could have more upside offensively than that. Dallas just has CeeDee Lamb. Like they have Turd Ferguson at the tight end position,
who made the Pro Bowl over Trey McBride.
And then they've got Brandon Cooks,
Zeke, bro. They got Zeke. Yeah,
they brought Zeke back in.
I can't say anything bad about Brandon Cooks because Brandon Cooks at age 30 last year saved me from going to the Waffle House for 24
And then the
hours.
Cleveland Browns with like Amari Cooper's good. Njoku's good, but I like the Cardinals' upside. If they get Nick Chubb back, it changes things.
You're forgetting that Jerry Jeudy was the move of the offseason, Bo. Remember that from last week?
Yes.
Callback?
Egregious. Jets 19th, one of the worst offenses in the league. Jets are 19th ahead of them. The Commanders ahead of them. The
Commanders.
Yeah, with Terry McLaurin and Johan Dotson.
I don't want to be this person because
You're going to be.
I respect the opinions that external analysts bring to our show. We're very respectful of hearing outside noise. I'm at the point where I hate the national media with this team. I can't listen to them talk about it. We live this every day. We analyze it, paralysis by analysis. We talk about it ad nauseum. And these people are so inept and ill-informed. Like, turn your brain. I just want to be like, turn your brain on to some of these people.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, who's hurt every other game. Amari Cooper, I'm 36. Amari Cooper is probably almost my age. David Njoku off a career year. Deshaun Watson, who Kyler Murray would smoke head to head now.
Listen to this breakdown of the Commanders. They've got Jaden Daniels and they've got Terry McLaurin, who's a stud. Sure, I'll let that slide. He's fine. He's a good receiver. John Dotson, who was very underwhelming last year.
What's his name?
Johan.
Yep.
He wears lederhosen. And then you've got Luke McCaffrey is a unique big slot receiver. We're talking about Luke McCaffrey as an option.
The 12th best receiver at the Senior Bowl this year.
At the Senior Bowl. Like, they had all the big name guys run routes and like, oh, don't forget Luke. He needs balls too.
Do you know whose brother is though?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And then you got Ertz and Sanat in the tight end room. And Austin Eckler out of the backfield is a sneakily fun receiving court.
Austin Eckler can't move anymore. We've established that.
If PFF, like if I'm a higher up at PFF, I'm reading that and I'm deactivating your key card. You can't come in and work.
Where's Trevor? We need to get Daddy Trevor on the show and be like, Trev, I know you've gone hard during draft season. You're probably taking some much deserved time off. Check your staff. What's happening here? Get this staff in order. It's almost as bad as when Jaden Daniels was going 25th in PFF mock draft simulator. We have to keep PFF on.
We get Marv to fall to 4.
Jaden Daniels going to the Cowboys in the middle of the 20s. Trevor, can you fix that for us, bro? We're the worst. I love this team. They're gonna surprise a lot of people this year, but be prepared until the season begins. Hopefully that you got to eat a big, sandwich with these rankings and these previews, because it's just, I grew up thinking that a lot of people nationally knew where the end all be all, knew what they were talking about. And then the more we get into this and just like, don't meet your heroes. Like they might know certain aspects of certain teams. Like I believe the people that cover some of these huge market teams, like they keep them honest. Dallas and Philadelphia, New York. We do that here in Arizona. People who are not in this market do not know this team at all. It's been proven. Unless you have ties, and even if you have ties like Steve Keim, you don't know this team. It's tough, man. It's tough out there in them streets.
Colin Cowherd saying you wouldn't believe some of the stories. I'm sure like some of the horror stories or whatever was Michael Bidwell like banging on the door of the Worm like, don't draft that linebacker 16th overall. Don't draft him 8th overall.
What about your horror stories, Steve? Can we talk about your horror stories? You wouldn't believe what I got away with doing for 10 years. You wouldn't believe some of these fat checks I got to cash.
Right. Probably still get to cash.
You wouldn't believe how they enabled me to do whatever I wanted to. You didn't believe how many buddies of mine I got hired in the scouting department. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I want to talk about training camp. First, I want to talk about Desert Financial Credit Union. Their money for me and everybody else who knows how to up their financial acumen. That's because Desert Financial is the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. It's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. And again, they can hook you up. Checking account, they got it. Savings accounts, mortgages, credit cards. You need a loan, they can take care of you there. How about investment options? They got everything you need under the sun financially to be able to help you and your family. Plus, if you're an Arizona sports fan, There is no better place to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union, the only place to show your team spirit every time you make a purchase with the exclusive Visa debit card. Represent the Red Sea, rock the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card today. Open up a free checking account online. Get started at desertfinancial.com/cardinalsbow to get started.
We had such a great time at Chicken and Pickle last week that, people are juiced up about playing some more pickle. We're starting a club around PHNX. We might be out there at any point during the week. You got to check out their Glendale location. Yeah, and check out more trivia opportunities as well. It was unbelievably rocking success with our friends over at Chicken and Pickle. Loved it. Great food. You can't beat what was going on. Had some wings, big old wings. Whether the wings or the flats, the drums or the flats. Pardon me. You had great beer, great margs that night. They were flowing. Damon, what'd you have to eat?
I had the grilled chicken sandwich that was brined in pickle juice.
Yep.
But also I got my eyes on that rotisserie chicken. Did you see that thing that they were? I mean, they just had it on the little steak there, just kind of moving it all around, and it came with a serrano pepper. It looked insane.
Somebody, a part of this company, selfishly would not share their outstanding looking cobbler with me. I tried to grab a spoon and just take a little dabble, and they swatted my hand away. The desserts, you know I'm a dessert guy, looked fantastic at Chicken and Pickle last week. Bo.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. You got dips, loaded tots, and you also have pickleball. You got table games. You got everything you could ever want in one place. Chicken and Pickle in Glendale. Check them out, chickenandpickle.com. See all the fun you can have in their Glendale location. You can also, if you're new to pickleball, they got Newbies Night, and you can get a $10 Chicken and Pickle gift card. So just show up to Newbie Night.
Did you guys know that me, Flex, Michaela, and Totri closed that place down?
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. They kicked us. They had to drag our bodies out of there.
Were you just pickling? You were on the court?
Oh, yeah. We were playing all night long, 9 to like 11:15. They closed at 11, and they were like, all right, guys, you got to get off the court, actually. It's that much fun.
For 15 minutes, they just heard the squeak of your tennis shoes in there, just getting after it. Dinking and dunking in there. What do you know about pickleball, Johnny?
What a sport.
I dabble.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
What's the strength of your game?
Probably my quickness, my acceleration at the net.
Quick twitch ability.
My power. It's like when I'm a halfback, I hit the hole hard and then I, cut to the sideline.
You got any finesse to that game?
You know what? No, I'm mostly all power.
All right.
Sometimes people call me uncontrollable, which I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. But you saw me. I got third in our company pickleball event. You did not place at that event a couple of years ago. I remember that. So have my medal.
Terrible. Damon's athleticism is like he can get to any spot on the court.
I'm diving too. That's my biggest quality is all. I don't really care about my body. I care about the point. I care about the team.
Effort.
Yeah, for sure.
That first half of that sentence, I don't care about my body. That's going to be me Saturday during 999. I don't care about my body. I don't care how I look. I'm going to do everything I can. As YouTube user points out, 999 skills are the only skills I can think about right now. You're trying to talk to me about a different sport entirely. I got my eye on the prize come this Saturday at Chase Field.
I had, like I said, Johnny came over, kid's birthday party. Damon, you didn't want no part of this. It was just a bunch of adults with tiny little kids running around. But everybody we informed that we were doing the 999 challenge. They were appalled. They're like, first, why are you doing that? And there's no chance either one of you is coming close.
They weren't just coming after me, which was a nice change from the chat. They were coming after the host, Mr. Man himself to the right. No one thinks we can do it. No one supports us. Our wives were disgusted with us.
Yeah.
So we are putting our bodies on the line, our reputations maybe too, for the 999 challenge via the Discord. Damon, have you informed your family that you're taking this on come Saturday?
I have. They're worried about me for sure. They don't know. They think I'm going to be a different man when I come back, like a guy coming back from war.
Yeah. You won't believe the things I've seen.
Johnny says that reputations are on the line, but I'd say that in his way, it could be a positive thing.
That's right? What I mean. I think it is a positive.
Yeah. No one believes in you. So there's no way, there's no down from there. There's only up. Meanwhile, Bo, I mean, he has to put in a hell of a performance.
Bo has the most to lose easily.
Absolutely.
Easily.
I just, I'd be happy with, if I got 6, that's a performance that I would say I gave it everything I got today.
I have a regimen built out. I don't know about you guys. Come about Friday morning until I arrive at Chase Field, where I'm sticking to it. It's almost regimented by the minute. And I know exactly what I'm eating, what I'm putting into my body, what I'm consuming. And then I'm going to mix in a couple HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training, that are going to get me ready to go as it relates to, okay, I'm going to look at these hot dogs as a hurdle. I'm going to look at these beverages as a hurdle as I make my mark at Chase Field.
I was at a Dollar Beer Night at Phoenix Rising.
Was that a Tom Brady speech, by the way?
Yeah, it felt like it.
Yeah.
And I got, I was getting some $1. I won't say the name of the beer, no free ads, but yeah, we were getting Dollar Beer Night, and I was just pounding beers just in preparation for this, trying to get them down as fast as possible. Just look at the skill set,
Yeah. So in about what, 110 minutes? How far did you get?
Well, I would say, so I sat down at like the 30th minute, and I'd say by like the 60th minute, I had about 4 beers down. So I mean, that includes some halftime in there too, 15-minute halftime. So
yeah, you're on track.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for.
Ryan H saying, lay off the appetizers, Johnny. Chase saying, more on your regiment, Johnny. I appreciate that. Chase saying, you can do it. We believe. Ozzy saying, you better not go out but like Big Dom. I have a number in mind that I want to hit, just like Damon.
With somebody, like put his hands on somebody. Is that what it means? Going out?
I'm going to fight a family. I'm going to go after somebody's dad at the game. Well, here's what I am going to do. I will have supplies on hand. I will have barbecue sauce on hand. I will have Advil. I will have Tums to be able to offset the stringent workload that I'm going to put my 5-6 frame to. But yeah, I think I'm going to surprise some people this weekend. I really do. I think you two, especially, you're going to have a front row seat to probably one of the biggest shockers in PHNX sports history. Why are you laughing?
It's so motivational.
Yeah. We're going to sit back as old men and just say, hey, tell us about 2024 Johnny Venerable during the 999 challenge. And we're just going to be like, it was special.
It was.
Tear in the eye.
Yeah.
Bo, do you have any strategy?
Yeah, I do. I think my emphasis is going to be on the dogs, on the glizzies. I think the beers will be fine. Okay. And I want to get, I think if I do them in like 3 or 4 bites, I should be all right.
You dip in water a little bit?
No, I could never. Any sort of that grosses me. I'm a texture guy.
Morning prep type of thing, like maybe go on a run.
Yeah, I might have to get some exercise. I don't know about getting into the HIIT. I'm not going to get into that part of the Peloton Rolodex, but I'll get some sort of.
Johnny's doing burpees in his living room.
I also think at some point I'm going to want to stand up and eat while standing. I don't think I'm going to be sitting very much during this event.
Okay.
And I know you were nice enough to get the seats, secure them for us today, and so we're not going to be in the nosebleeds, which. I'm excited about but at the same time, it's like, I don't want families, kids to see what's going on with the 3 of us. Sometimes I need
a 110 first pitch against the Oakland Athletics. I think we'll be all right.
Family
access to the concessions, which is key.
It's going to be an early Friday night.
Yeah.
Get some good rest.
Mm-hmm.
Get your 8 hours in, hydrate. That's super important. But again, we're playing this up. The only way you can keep tabs on the 999 challenge, you have to become a diehard at gophnx.com. This is a diehard exclusive event, which means, thankfully for your boys, you're not going to find a sniff of this on social media. It's not going to be streamed here on the YouTubes. You got to find this content one place, uploaded by your boys live and in living color on PHNX Discord Cardinals. Videos, updates, photos, whatever you want. It's all coming from the 3 of us, not only at the event, before and after. So you're going to know exactly where we stand. Otherwise, you got to wait till Monday's show to hear the breakdown. You will not want to miss it. Plus, we're telling you right now, become a diehard, take in the 999 challenge, and then shop the number 18 collection. Get a free t-shirt from the number 18 collection, which, by the way, are shipping right now. I got my notification. All 3 of these coming my way. Bo, I know you got notified. They're coming your way. You can't get a number 18 jersey for the Arizona Cardinals unless it's discounted AJ Green, but you can shop the 18 collection right now at the PHNX merchandise locker. This is the best time in the history of the company to become a diehard, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't beat it. You've got great selection of T-shirts. We even have as you mentioned, the PHNX collection coming. You're going to want to get in. If you come at Die Hard, you get your choice of a free shirt or a hat from the locker. Don't miss out on that. Plus, you get that access to the exclusive member Discord free membership card. You get the entrance to the you can get discounts on all events and then access to all our premium written content. Craig Morgan's already churning out some great stuff, some pieces on some of these Arizona Cardinals players that you want to know more about beyond what we're telling you on the podcast. You're only going to get access to all of it by becoming a diehard level access as becoming a diehard member of PHNX.
Yeah, Craig Morgan already making waves, being subtly quoted by Colin Cowherd on his podcast, which is led off our show. So we make headlines here at PHNX Sports, and we want to do it with you. Become a diehard. You will not regret it. Christmas came early a little bit for Cardinal fans today, Bo, as you, as well as many other members of the media, announced training camp dates. I was looking for the elusive red and white practice that headlines training camp taking place Saturday, August 3rd. What more can you tell us?
I can tell you that my birthday brother and I, Damon, are probably going to be struggling on that day for the red and white scrimmage. The day before is going to be our B-Day, birthday brother.
You guys share a birthday?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that. Happy birthday.
I said, I don't care about your qualifications. When's your birthday? He said, August 2nd. I said, you're hired.
Wow.
And that's how he became the producer.
Maybe we could all go out, have some
fun. It wasn't a long drawn out process or anything like that.
It was pretty simple. They said, what skills do you have? And I said, my birthday's on August 2nd.
I have an early August birthday. Oh, okay. Glad I wasn't included on those decisions. It's just going Damon make those decisions on their own.
We got 9 practices open to the public starting on July 25th. You've got the 25th, 26th, 29th, 30th, and then you dip into August, you get the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th. And then they basically, after that, they'll leave Glendale. They'll start preseason action, and they'll have like joint practices and stuff. But for the most part, things will be done away from Glendale. So couple opportunities there, including that red and white on August 3rd. There is one event. It's going to be on July 28th. That's going to be exclusive to season ticket member holders, to where they can go watch the team practice. And they're really the only ones let into State Farm Stadium that day.
What kind of environment will training camp be compared to last year? That's the question I want to know, Bo Brack.
Last year or the year before? Because the year before it was Camp Country Club. And then, you had JG and his staff and Monty Ossenford trying to identify, who they could field a football team that was going to be competitive and that bought into the culture. And they, obviously weeded people out. But then this year it's going to be ultra competitive. It's going to be, players fighting for position, who are going to be guys that are going to help this organization take a step forward and kind of maybe cut into these expectations to go from a 4-win team to a team knocking on the door of the postseason.
I remember watching training camp on the sideline with you last year and thinking about Marvin Harrison Jr. And that was a year before they drafted him, or about 8 months. I'm like, man, they could really use a player of his caliber. And he was about to complete his junior year or sophomore redshirt season at Ohio State. The Cardinals last year at training camp had Michael Wilson, that was an attraction, Trey McBride at times, and like James Conner. And that was probably about it. Hollywood Brown missed a bunch of time. Colt McCoy couldn't throw. Kyler Murray wasn't practicing. I asked you that question just because I'll just call it what it is. We had a very neutered training camp last year. Remember, we had Isaiah Simmons playing free safety. It was like bizarro world Cardinals. And I'm like, who is this team? Like, who's going to be playing for this team? And that's why it was so refreshing to see Dortch and especially Michael Wilson light it up. It's like, okay, there's one guy we can saddle our hopes and expectations to. This year, it's completely different. It's like K1 back, Marvin in the fold, Trey McBride, superstar, like the star power on the field during training camp. Like, I expect monster turnouts for these practices, and rightfully so.
Yeah. Chase saying my birthday is 8/2. Can I compete in the 999 challenge? Damon was hired right after that.
Chase, if you're in the area, come out to the ballpark on Saturday.
This is good research here by My Uneaten Steak. My B-Day was October 28th, 2021. The alleged day
How does he know that?
Well, I mean, Thursday Night Football, I would guess. Where
Gotcha.
AJ Green didn't turn around. Got his jersey turned into a Marvin Harrison Jr. one that day, basically.
People are saying, Tip better not see you at the red and white practice, JV. Tip wants to talk to Johnny. Tip is about 3 sizes of me. I think Tip needs to worry about, producing on the field. I think he will. I'm ready to come around. I'm waiting for Tip. He doesn't need to earn anything from me, but I'm waiting for Tip Ryman to make plays so I can get excited about Tip Ryman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and walk back my opinion that I thought he was overdrafted. And we had his position coach on, and we talked to him a couple weeks ago or about a month ago. But I'm not here to anoint players before they do something.
Yeah,
that's just how things go. I hope he's a good player, though.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to really show off his skill set until they put on pads and they start hitting people.
Yeah, then he'll become a really easy player. If we fast forward to sometime in September and he's laying out Jared Verse as a 6th lineman against the LA Rams and it bursts James Conner free for about 20 yards down the sideline, I'm gonna be fired up about Tip.
Well, be honest. Like if he hits the C gap and blows up some 4-stringer for somebody in preseason, you're gonna be excited about that.
Sure. Again, preseason. Saints, you know what bag, 199. Colin Cowherd looks like he eats his steak well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin, man.
Catch up.
That show is almost unwatchable now if Colin turns on K1 because Jason McIntyre, you'd be hard-pressed to find a bigger hater of the Cardinals than Jason McIntyre.
Right.
Jets going to the Super Bowl, though, Johnny. I don't know if you heard.
Is that J-Max take?
Oh, he's the biggest Jets homer in the world.
Damon, outside of the teams within the Cardinal division, I don't think I'm rooting for a team to fail more than the New York Jets.
It's going to be electric when it happens. It's not even an if.
Like Aaron Rodgers getting hurt and that team imploding, like I'm ready to laugh at them.
I'm ready to get that injected into my veins, Sean.
Here's what I'm ready for, Damon and Bo. That team to be terrible. Cardinals trading a 5th-round pick for Hassan Reddick at the trade deadline to help their playoff push. That's what I want.
All right.
The Jets being about 1-6. Cardinals beat their ass before.
You don't think they make it harder by giving him a brand new, like a big contract?
I think isn't he holding out for one? Isn't he like cosplaying in Japan? He doesn't even have his money yet.
Yeah, he told them that he was going to report to mandatory training camp and do all the team activities. And like, it wasn't going to be an issue. They talked contract after this season. And then it came time for that. And he was like, just kidding. I want a new contract. I'll be in Asia while I wait on it.
I love Hassan. Come back, Hassan.
It's electric.
That shows you, though, that's Aaron Rodgers' leadership. Like, Aaron Rodgers is like, I don't need to come to any of this. So Hassan Reddick's like, no, me neither. Bye. See you, Robert Saleh, you joke of a head coach. Get me to Jonathan Gannon. Hassan Reddick will be back. You just watch. We root against the Jets. Hassan Reddick will be back in Arizona.
You called it with Marcus Golden a couple of years ago. You're gonna get it right with Hassan.
I also called it with Zach Ertz. That was before you were here, though. I do pretty well mid-season trade predictions, but
yeah,
I got to watch. I got to see where's the pass rush coming from. Reddick would have been had Reddick not been an Eagle. I think there's a good chance Cardinals at least entertain it. But there's a big Howie Roseman block in the way. And Nick Ryan, and to a lesser extent, Big Dom. Cardinals don't want to deal with those clowns in Philadelphia. Had Hassan Reddick played for any other team, maybe he's a Cardinal. So now that he's free again and he's causing a stir with the Jet, maybe he becomes available again.
Yeah. You imagine if Austin Fort was like not dealing with the Eagles. Big Dom pissed me off too much last season.
I was watching those highlights of the Eagles game this morning. It's just awesome.
You're a sicko.
I am.
I was you were kind enough. You got my kid Darth Vader. You got him a Darth Vader toy for his birthday. I've been teaching him all about Star Wars, give him all the insight. Said this guy, he's the
can't even get through this.
He's the emperor of the dark side. This is the guy. He originated it.
Incorrect. All that what you just said. Not the emperor. He didn't originate the dark side.
He started it. Yeah, he said
that's the most insane thing I've ever heard. I think
he was
Johnny.
mad.
It's like mad. Scene from The Office.
He had a run-in with Obi-Wan that went awry, and he said, "You know what? Screw you guys. I'm starting the dark side."
It's like when Jim tries to talk about Battlestar Galactica and Dwight's over there going like this. That episode from The Office. I know Bo knows that that's not true, and he's just saying that to upset me. Tell him what else I got your son for his birthday.
Oh, you got him his favorite gift. You got him a this one I can appreciate.
Yes.
The Ghostbusters Proton Blaster.
That's love it so much.
I have to rip it out of his hands before he goes to bed.
Go get that Slimer.
Yeah.
Get that Slimer in the backyard. Merv saying Johnny probably bought that Darth Vader for himself. No, but I do have several Darth Vaders displayed in my home, Merv.
I didn't even know. I was kind of concerned. Like I took it out of its box and was like, "Oh shit!" Was I supposed to do that, or does he have to keep it in its box? Like,
is he talking okay? Does the electronics work well?
Yeah, it's got James Earl Jones's voice.
Perfect. That's what we want.
Saint shitbag with any House of the Dragon thoughts.
Yeah.
Bo and I were talking earlier today. He's a big Sir Kristen Cole fan. That's his favorite character. He wants to model his life after him.
He's the Cliff Kingsbury of the Game of Thrones universe.
I have not seen the first 2 episodes, so none yet.
We'll get on it.
Thank you, though. I'm caught up on The Boys, caught up on Bridgerton, but I'm not caught up on House of the Dragon. We had a lot of family here in the month of June, and then we got our shows queued up.
Yep.
And somehow Bridgerton got moved up the queue.
Husband. I hope that's Kelsey's choice.
It is absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an okay. It's one of those, I'm on my phone while it's on. I'm not, locked and loaded. People are dying. You guys don't have significant others out there that queue up the old Bridgerton? Come on now. The Bridgerton Cinematic Universe, BCU. We're fired. If you like what you see on this podcast, how can you not? Drop a like. And if you want an extended look at your boys live and in person, come to Miami with us. Does anything sound better than that? I don't think so. No. That's because via True Fan Travel, myself, Bo Brack, Damon Dawg, the GM Saul Bookman, and the rest of the PHNX Sports group is headed to South Beach, Hollywood Beach, hotel on the beach, all-inclusive event, the 25th through the 28th via our friends at True Fan Travel. I'm talking direct flights, hopefully from where you're located, trips to and from the airport. How about a booze cruise? How about an alumni event? How about a tailgate event? Tickets to the game, seated together, October 25th through the 28th. It is going down. PHNX Cardinals heads to Miami as Kyler Murray takes on Tua. Marvin versus Tyreek Hill. It is going to be a blast. Points will be scored. Vibes will be had. Beverages will be consumed. Damon Dawg, wifing up somebody that weekend. Could be you out there if you're watching this show right now. We're fired up in all seriousness, Bo, to partner with our friends at True Fan Travel.
Yeah, you can't get any better deal than our friends over at True Fan Travel, taking out all the heavy lifting as far as you going and seeing your favorite team play on the road. True Fan Travel, truefantravel.com. Get in on our trip to Miami, October 25th through 28th. It's going to be elite. We're going to actually introduce you to some former Cardinals players. We're going to hang out the entire time. You're going to get sick of us, but we're going to make some memories together down there in Miami. Johnny, myself, Damon Dawg, Saul Bookman, the GM. I think Britton Golden's going to be down there. Cannot wait for this trip. It's going to be unbelievable. Our guy, Saint Shitbag. Can I read this one? Can we put it on the screen? Christian Cole is a munch.
Who's that?
Butt munch, maybe? I don't know.
This is the perfect show to be able to christen Studio K at PHNX Sports. We're having a blast. Hope all of you, again, become a diehard. I cannot urge you enough. If you're on the fence about becoming a diehard, first of all, let us know. Drop us a DM. Our DMs are open, by the way. Pick up a free t-shirt from the merchandise locker. We're talking up this $9.99 challenge. It is going to be worth the price of admission alone, plus all the other stuff you get to become a diehard. So again, let us know. Become a diehard. Now, I think we had somebody earlier in the show saying they became a diehard this offseason, and it's some of the best money they've spent, so we appreciate you. Tag us on Twitter with your diehard membership, retweet, immediate follow. Yeah, Brewski523, let's go. Became a diehard watching this offseason. Hands down the best listen watch for all things Cardinals. We appreciate that. And again, I think I'm underselling it. Like when you become a diehard at gophnx.com, you're not only becoming part of this community, you're part of PHNX sports in general. That means PHNX hockey, PHNX D-backs, Suns, everything under the sun, Arizona sports you're a part of, including PHNX Cardinals, Bo.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It pays for itself, and you're going to be part of something that we feel is really truly special here, and kind of taking this sports market by storm. Something that people have been craving to have this community hang out and talk ball, puck, whatever it may be. You can do that only in the exclusive member Discord and here on a daily basis at PHNX Cardinals and our other cast of shows here on the network. Make sure you're subscribed to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. You're following along on Twitter at Johnny Venerable, at Damon, Dawg, at Bo Brack, and at PHNX_Cardinals. If you missed the Zach Gallen interview today, check that out. If you saw, you got to be following our guy Craig S. Morgan on Twitter for all the updates as far as this Coyote saga. It's all being reported and talked about right here at PHNX Sports. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow here on PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.